good morning, Farnoosh. Thank you for joining me today.
Yeah, my pleasure, Mark. Thanks for having me.
And so, where are you joining us from today?
From Cary, North Carolina, USA.
Great. I always love North Carolina. So, tell me a little bit about your background and what brought you at a high level to the current work you do around training and helping organizations, both education and business, through hard conversations.
Yeah, so I will give you the what I call executive summary. So I come from an engineering background and I spent 12 years in the corporate world building my career around engineering, project management. And during that career, I also worked on the business side. So that helped me grow in my career, but also in hindsight, it showed me things that I lacked, such as communication, leadership, the skills that some of my colleagues had. So when I started my business, 13 years ago now, I started to switch gears and seek, if I can call it, expertise in that area as a coach, as a trainer, as a writer, because I think our struggles make us, if we channel that energy, they make us passionate about a certain area that we couldn't do. And now we want to bring that to our work. So I became a leadership coach, a trainer. I worked with professionals for many years, not just in the engineering space, but many others. And I started to train leaders and managers in organizations and in teams around these difficult conversation skills, as you called it, or leadership, communication, emotional intelligence skills. And I love this work. I wish I had this training when I was going through my career, but now I can help future professionals or current professionals just do better in their careers.
Do you find there's a certain point in the career where this kind of training has the highest impact, or is it you
Hmm.
wait until you are a leader and then that's when you want to have this education?
Well, I mean, every career takes on a different path, right? And you have all these different verticals. But I feel this happens to be universal, this skill of communicating efficiently or proficiently. For all careers, sure, you want to be great at it from the start. But I feel those initial years, you can get by being your technical expertise by working on your technical expertise, right? Whatever your niche. And then once you start to go higher levels in the organization, you are working with different people. You're working with non-technical counterparts, people who don't have your expertise, but you need to communicate with them to get your work done, to get your project done, to ask for funding, to influence decisions, to be a part of the decision making process. And all of that in any industry. You can be in pharma, you can be in finance, you can be in IT. You need to communicate well, especially with leaders and executives and the sponsors of these projects. And so we could say later in your career, it's even more crucial. But this is not the kind of skill you can just pick up and check off, right? You need to build it, right? There's different levels of leadership, influence, emotional intelligence, communicating, negotiating. And so you want to start early. But I think the work I have done, Mark, with say over 100, 200 clients, I would say the pattern is 8 to 9 years into their careers, they feel stuck. And I can say most of them were hardworking and very good at their job, right? So they get stuck and also a little confused as to why they are not moving up and expanding their career and their impact and increasing their compensation. And that is the point where it's not too late, but it's a big awareness, like, oh, these are the skills I need to have better conversations or present myself better or show up as a leader or have that elusive executive presence that they want you to have, but nobody can tell you what it is, right? And so maybe later it becomes even more critical. Long answer to your question.
No, that's good though. But I think you've touched on there's so many questions that go through my head that one piece. One part I would say is Do
Mhm.
you find, though, there are some individuals that get to a certain point, and no matter how emotionally intelligent, no matter how well educated on difficult conversations,
Right?
they're at the level they fit, right? Because some piece of it isn't about communication and being self aware. Some
Sure.
piece of it is the job you do. Some piece of it is the skills you develop and how far you can take those skills. And maybe some people aren't as adapted to leadership or executive level. Do you think some piece of EI is becoming aware this is the right level for me?
Yes, if I understand your question correctly, right? So they are struggling with something in their career, and you're saying communication and leadership skills. However well they develop that, that's not going to be the answer. Absolutely, right? But with leadership communication, self-awareness, and having better conversations, you can come to an understanding as to whether that career path is right for you, or whether another career path could be better, whether the corporate path is right for you. And to my own surprise, I thought I was going to be a corporate gal forever. It wasn't. And so then what? And so the emotional intelligence, particularly in that space, can help you better understand your values, your passions, your pursuits at different stages of your career, and then to seek those opportunities, to transfer, to ask for the opportunities from your upper management, to change paths, or to change the job that you do to something that helps you thrive. Because I think where you're coming from is, what people need to continue to thrive, right, as they grow in their careers, because you need them to be happy in order to be productive.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, I think so. I think along those lines, let's take it to what changed for you. I know for me, I've been outside the corporate world serving as a consultant for the last 30 years. I did
Okay.
take a short stint when I went inside as an executive and found it wasn't for me. I couldn't, I surely struggled with the pace at which things move internally. It can
Okay.
take a very long time.
Right.
We have an idea, we know that it proves out on a small sample, to
Yeah.
now get the corporate funding and commitment and alignment to see it all the way through to maybe a year, year and a half, 2 years to get the real outcome, you have to maintain that steam internally. And so for me, it was not a fit. So what for you drove you to realize you didn't want to stay in corporate America, even though you thought that was your thing?
Yeah. So I hear that we are both impatient. Even though I think that can be a virtue, I can see it being a virtue, in that I would like things to be done yesterday too, right? And so that part of it is one. For me, that wasn't number one. Number one was that I realized I wanted to call the shots, to work on things that weren't mandated by my management. And I switched positions to perhaps find it. I worked for a big company, big organization. And so there was a lot of opportunities. But in the end, it was about this whole idea of I wanted the freedom to have my own schedule, to, take a whole Tuesday off and then work all weekend long to work toward a personal deadline. And I didn't know what I wanted to do exactly. This is not how I would coach you if you're, thinking about quitting your job. But I knew what I didn't want. And that was a job where I had a boss, where I was bound to a salary. And it sounds like I'm ungrateful. I wasn't. It's just that when it becomes unfulfilling, you realize you're becoming a certain person if you stay on that path. And I just didn't like who I was becoming as I was staying longer and longer in my corporate job and not finding the fulfillment. And it's a choice, and everyone makes a personal choice based on their personal responsibilities. But I wanted to explore a different path.
And
So,
there's these trade-offs. I think a lot of individuals think if I'm part of the corporation, then I'm more stable, I'm more safe maybe than a small company, or if I'm independent. But I, from my 30 years of watching these organizations, feel like it's a little bit of a facade. You're just as at risk in a big organization in a lot of ways, either through, to your point, they're going to work to make you uncomfortable so you want to leave, or they're going to put you in a job you don't like because they need the job done and they don't care what your position is, or they'll do, wholesale layoffs because, the bottom line is not where it should be, and this is the way they solve that problem. Uh,
Yeah.
how do you help individuals think about those kinds of things when they're in this position? They think they have to have the corporate job for stability. Do you talk with those kinds of things, or do you let them think about what they want rather than what's wrong with the position?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. So, I mean, I call that a false sense of security. Because if we're just talking factually, we know that no job is safe. We know that, especially in today's landscape, things are evolving so fast. There's so much change happening. And so the job isn't safe. And there is also no guarantees that as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, you are going to have a steady flow of clients and business. What I find in the difference in those is, how a person's values and their natural strengths line up. Because you have to be someone who likes to take initiative. Like, I feel the most freedom is when you are running your own business. I have switched gears many times because there is no end to the opportunities I could pursue and the different type of expertise I could grow in order to create opportunity. But if you're in a job, it's whether you're doing that job, doing it well so that you are kept employed, or for whatever reason, you are not, your services are no longer required. Thank you very much. And we are restructuring and what have you. And that is a reality. And so it's a personal choice. I start with what matters to people on a personal level, right? If the sense of security and that kind of sense of security, along with everything they have to meet their responsibilities. In the US, we have to think about healthcare, we have to think about a lot of things. And if that is the number one most important thing, then perhaps you can fulfill your passion with side hustles, with pursuits on the side, and put healthy boundaries around your job so that you can still meet your financial obligations, but you are also pursuing other things which may grow. That side hustle, that idea might grow, and then you might see a transition. But if you are losing your livelihood, which was happening to me, and you have some cushion, some runway in order to give yourself time to transition, perhaps the right decision for you is to walk away. The model can take on so many different forms, right? There is not just one way. You quit or you stay. I feel like you need to be very creative in how you think about your options. So,
Today's environment, there's so many ways to explore that
yes,
without giving up the 8 to 5 portion that the corporate world expects. Yeah.
right.
I
Yes.
wanted to go back to your book for a moment. So the book's on this topic. Is that correct?
The book is not so much. Are we talking about the serving mindset?
Yes, that's the one.
Yes. Not so much. It's on. So let me give you the overview real
Yeah,
quick.
please.
So the book is it came about because I loved everything I was doing in my business, Mark, but I didn't like the aspect of selling, which is a problem because
You're running a small business, you have to sell.
Exactly. And I really had to think about what it is about selling that I dislike. I am not shy. I am ambitious. I go after what I want. I'm very good with people. But there is this feeling that I felt when people were driving their agenda and I felt like I was being sold to. It was a big turnoff for me. And I realize you have to do certain things in your business that you may not love. But I felt that there was another way to create opportunities that become business and profit without doing the type of selling that is a turnoff, that feels inauthentic. I wouldn't say manipulative, but some can be taken that far. And even if it gives results, and that works for some people, it doesn't work for a lot of people. And the fact that you can't be a good salesperson actually turns away a lot of brilliant potential entrepreneurs because they don't want to do that. And so I explored and did research and work around an idea where you change the way you have your sales conversations and you focus truly on building that trust, earning that trust, building that relationship, but also not giving away the farm, so to speak, and having that clarity as to what we're doing here. Why are we building the relationship? Why are we putting people first, which is your work, your podcast? And how exactly do we do that? Because even if you have the intention, you have to articulate that. You have to navigate this conversation where you are not driving your agenda, but you're still powerfully putting out your services, your expertise, the way that you do your big work in the world, and see whether it's a good fit, whether it's a good fit for you, whether you want to take them on, because we have to work together. And so that's the overview of the book, The Serving Mindset.
Makes a lot of sense. And that's something I talk with my team about often because, you know,
Mhm.
we are a service organization, so selling's a dirty word. But at the same time, in a service organization like mine, you need everyone to be, quote, selling every day. But what I try to explain is their selling is doing a good job. If they're delivering, representing the brand well, and to your
Mhm.
point, meeting the customer's need, that is selling. Because then when the person says, hey, this individual did a great job, I want more like them, boom, your team just expanded simply by meeting the needs, not by selling anything. Just serving, like you said.
Right. And the meeting the needs is not just the business needs, it's the understanding each client, because they may need different things. Some of them focus on tasks, some of them focus on people, some of them focus on, understanding that, which is the emotional intelligence bit.
Yes.
And matching your tone, your approach to that person, so you relate and connect with them on a personal level. Because at the end of the day, I can't get rid of this corporate slogan. At the end of the day, we are still working with people. Even with
Yes.
the advancement of AI, you are doing business with another human being, and they need to like and trust you and want to work with you. And yes, there are exceptions to that, but I think the best working relationships, which is not something you have control over when you have a job. That was another one of my challenges. Here, you choose the people that you work with, the people that you attract, and and that's powerful. And you become more yourself. You can be more confident, more authentic, more passionate about your work.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Great. Well, on writing the book, I'm just kind of curious as myself, an aspiring author. I've been trying to get this one book out the door for a while. How hard was the process? How long did it take? Did you pull in help, or did you do this on your own?
No, no, no. I didn't pull in help. I'm very proud I did this on my own. Um, I feel like, and this is my fourth book.
Okay.
So and then I did a bunch of ebooks. So I feel like the timing needs to be right, Mark. I love that you're an aspiring author, and there's so many ways that you can become an author, whether it's completely self-published or traditional publishing or everywhere in between. But I feel like the timing was important. Like I was really ready to put this out. And I remember we were in Canada with my husband and we were sitting down and I was like, this is a book I'm going to write. And I feel like I was like ready to spit it out. Hopefully that's not a bad expression, but this is the expression I use. And then I came home and I wrote the outline, and we pitched it to our publisher. We had a publisher at the time, and I went with traditional publishing. It's a whole different conversation. Both are powerful choices, but I feel the timing has to be right. The clarity on what your book is about, why you want to write this, and how it will come together, and the scope, so to speak. But once you're ready, I don't like projects that take long. We
Mm.
already established we're both very impatient, right? And so it couldn't have gone on too long. I think I wrote this in maybe 6 months. And by writing it, I mean the first draft was maybe the first 2 months, and then there is the editing process, which is so important. I do give my editor credit. Well, their name isn't here, but the editors of these books are people who make the book. For every traditionally published book, right? You need a good editor, so we were very lucky. And yeah, and since then I haven't published another one. That was almost 6 years ago. So, um,
Maybe
but
it's coming up on time.
yes, maybe. And when I know, then I will be ready to write another one. So I hope that
Absolutely.
inspires you and
Yeah,
doesn't
no,
discourage you
no, very
because,
much so. Yeah, 6 months still feels like a long time because to your point, I'm very impatient, but it's been longer than that at this point, so I just need to go get it done. That's great.
and
Well, you
it's something,
mentioned,
oh, sorry, but it's something you do on the side. You're not
yes,
just writing the book. So it's an ongoing project and you're still, doing other things. But all right, we'll hold you to it, Mark,
that's
um,
great.
for your next book. Mhm.
I like it. So you'd also mentioned picking the people that you work with, and so this point, your career's culminated in you and your husband doing this business together. What kind of has that been work? You guys, is it fun to get to work together a lot? Is it create new challenges? And what did you would you have to think a long time before you decided to dive into this phase, or was it an easy natural fit?
Right. So I have known my husband forever and ever. Right. We went to college together, but we weren't together until later. And then I pulled him into my company. And so, and we've been married forever, like maybe 12 years, by the time we decided to go into business together. And I have to tell you, it was the most surprising and the hardest part of our relationship because I'm thinking, who is this person? Why don't they do things the way I want them done? And why are we having so many problems? And he's not here to defend himself, but we both had good points. We happen to be polar opposites, which works really well when you sort out your differences because he does everything I don't want to do and vice versa. But that took a lot of emotional maturity, which helped our marriage too. In that, we have the same vision. We both wanted to be self employed, the freedom that comes with it, the way that we can just live a different life. And I would say a healthier life with the boundaries that we put around work and personal life. And so you have the same vision, but you have to figure out what the working relationship is. It's very different from the existing partnership. What is the working style of each person? Can this work? Which battles do we pick? And so that only took 5 years. I think 5 years in, we were in a good place, just had a few, rough areas, but it takes time, right? And if you really, really want it, whether it's your career in the corporate world, the business dream, the partnership with your partner, life partner, it takes a lot longer than you think, but then time passes anyway. So if it's something that you want and you're putting in the work in a smart way, and working on yourself and on the relationship, then you will get results. It just takes time. And I say that because we forget. Like we think 6 months, oh, I'm going to give up. And you can. And sometimes sometimes it's not the right thing. But for us, it was definitely the right thing. 13 years now, we've been running our own business and we're still loving it and we have a lot of fun. You have to have fun. You have to laugh. You have to enjoy it. Otherwise, you can go get a boring job. I don't
And
know.
you have to take those Tuesdays off together once in a while.
Yes,
It's
yes,
kind of the flexibility is powerful.
exactly, exactly. We travel, we do a lot of things together, and we do things apart. That's
Yes,
important too, right? You need your
yes.
time apart.
Having your own life and the two lives come together. Couldn't agree
Yeah,
more.
thank
Yeah.
you. Well said. Well summarized.
Yes. Very good. Well,
So,
that's what I wanted to cover today. Is there anything else you wanted to share with the group?
no, I hope that your listeners enjoyed, that they were inspired, that they took something tangible away. If there is any other things you want to ask me, I'm happy to answer. But otherwise, I wish them well. People first.
Absolutely, Farnoosh.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. People are the point, and we will share your
Mhm.
information with the group in the chat down below. And thank you for the time today.
Thank you. My pleasure. Cheers. Thank you, Mark.
Cheers.